Beneath John Crow Mountain, where morning mist rolled down into a quiet cul-de-sac, lived a dog named Brownie. He had no title, no uniform, and no one had trained him. Still, everyone knew his job. Brownie watched the road, recognized every familiar car, and warned the street whenever a stranger came too close. The family who cared for Brownie had made a quiet promise. If a hungry animal found its way to their home, it would not be turned away. Brownie had arrived as a stray, but over time he became more than a dog they fed. He became their protector, their welcome home shadow, and the king of the street. Then one morning, another shadow appeared. A black dog, lean and cautious, stepped into Brownie's territory. At first, Brownie barked as he always did, but the stranger did not challenge him. He only waited. And somehow, before the morning was over, the warning had become an invitation. They called him Blackie at first, but soon, because of his restless spirit and his habit of disappearing toward the mountain paths, they gave him a better name, Ranger. Brownie taught Ranger the unwritten rules of the cul-de-sac, which cars belonged, which gates led to kindness, and which sounds meant trouble. They became brothers in their own way, different in every detail, yet loyal beyond explanation. Brownie was bold and restless. Ranger was watchful, cautious, and easily frightened by thunder, loud bangs, and sudden hands. But when fear found Ranger, Brownie stayed close. And when Brownie wandered too far, Ranger kept the home front safe. In time, the family learned that Ranger's fears had a history. Long before he reached this street, he had been hurt and altered by a life no one fully knew. What had once seemed like nervousness began to look different. Not weakness, but memory. Not stubbornness, but survival. So they made room for his healing, not by asking him to forget, but by showing him, day after day, that he was safe. Brownie had always followed the call of the world beyond the gate. One harvest moon night, he left again, nose lifted to the wind. But this time, when he returned, he was badly hurt. Ranger seemed to understand before anyone else. He stayed beside Brownie, pressing close as if his presence alone could keep his friend from leaving. But some journeys cannot be guarded against, and soon, the dog who had protected the street for so many years was gone. There were no flags, no ceremony, just the hush that follows the loss of a constant presence. Brownie had gone to Dog Haven. After Brownie's death, the street felt emptier, but Ranger did not abandon the watch. He walked Brownie's route, guarded the gate, and stood between the vulnerable and the unknown. He became wary of food from strangers. He listened harder. He watched longer. Yet grief did not harden him completely. Beneath his caution, Ranger made room for a grey, stray cat, guarding her as though she carried a small piece of Brownie's memory. The cat, once fearful of all dogs, moved freely around Ranger, curling up in a small, defiant act of trust. Years passed. Ranger grew older, slower, and sore with the weight of time. But the family remembered the promise they had made. They brought him care when he needed it most. Medicine, rest, gentler routines, and the patience to meet each difficult day with love. And then, one rainy evening, a small puppy came looking for shelter. His name was Patch. Ranger could not give Patch everything Brownie had given him, but he could give him the most important thing, a place to belong. He taught Patch the road, the gate, the safe places, and the sacred duty of watching over those who could not watch over themselves. Brownie found his rest. Ranger found care and purpose, and through Patch, their watch lived on. Epilogue. What remains? The street lived on. Guardianship, once held by two dogs, was now carried by Patch, clumsy and eager, with the wind of John Crow Mountain at his back. The adopted parents had learned something profound about responsibility, and about the promise they had made when they took in strays. Love is an act that asks for time and care, and the smallest choices, an appointment kept, a pill given, a bath endured, can lengthen the tender, bright arc of a life. Dogs do have an intuition that borders on the uncanny. They map the world in ways we cannot fully understand, and they translate grief into guarding, into steadfast presence. Brownie and Ranger, each in their way, taught their neighbours the limits and the reach of that devotion. Their names became part of the street story, told to newcomers as an explanation for why the cul-de-sac watched over its beasts the way it did. When you walk that quiet lane beneath John Crow Mountain, you might still hear a low, contented rumble of a dog snoring in the sun. Or you might catch the flicker of a memory in a child's sketch. The lives of stray dogs and the hands that take them in are stitched together. Every collar, every scar, every fond look is a line in a longer story. Brownie found his rest. Ranger found care and purpose until the end. And life, stubborn as spring grass, continued, guarded, loved, and remembered.